Hello there, welcome to the micro class. Take your seat. It's alright, any seat will do. It's nice to have you back. I missed you. You might be wondering what we're gonna be doing today. So, let me tell you about it. In today's class, we're gonna be going through one of Starba's more recent videos where he's addressing some of the suggestions from his community to improve Dead by Daylight. In the video, he makes some valid points as to why some of the suggestions wouldn't work or sound good on paper but in practice would be detrimental to the game. However, notice some points that he makes that I don't agree with, and the arguments that he gives to sustain his claims are not quite alright, and I think this comes from a lack of understanding of the game design and development process, so I thought it would be interesting to go through those points and provide some insight into why his arguments don't hold any water. I'm not trying to stir any drama or to say that he's spreading misinformation or accusing him of anything. I just think that this is a good opportunity for learning and perhaps to grow as a community. We're not going to be going through the entirety of the video, we're just going to focus on the points that I think are relevant, but if you want to watch the full video, I will leave a link in the description. And if you would like me to do a full breakdown of the video or would like to discuss further with me, I guess we could do a follow-up class, or we could discuss it during a stream. Anyways, let's jump right into it.
The first one, this seems like such a good idea, and as a content creator, I should be completely on board. Just make DBD free to play. I should be completely on board. But there's an unfortunate reality, which is that DBD does not have a solid anti-cheat problem. If you remember, some years ago, Dead by Daylight was indeed free for a weekend. In that weekend, cheater groups managed to snag thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of free accounts. And when they get banned for cheating, well, they just move on to another account that's also free.
That's basically the gist of his argument, but to summarize, free-to-play would mean more players would mean more cheaters. The game is not equipped to handle those cheaters. Charging money for the game acts as a deterrent because it would be wasted money. While I agree that the game shouldn't go free to play, I do it because of different reasons, which will be a topic for a future video. But anyways, I wanted to say two things about his argument. One, you can use a VPN to create a Steam account on a region where the game is cheaper, or you can just buy the key on a reseller. And the price of the game is probably very close to the price that you will have to pay for one of the accounts that got the game for free. So even if the accounts that have the game for free didn't exist, you would still have the problem of cheaters. Also, the game having a really poor implementation of an anti-cheat shouldn't be a reason for the game not going free to play. There are several things that behavior can do to fix this problem, but they refuse to do it. I agree with Odds saying that requiring a phone number might risk alienating some people, but there are other options. Like, for example, if the menu at the end of the match actually did anything, when you click report and it actually did anything at all, and the game had a replay system, like any replay system, just something that actually worked, then you could report the match and someone from behavior could go through the match, watch the replay, and be like, oh, this guy was actually cheating.
Unit, I'll be safe for the rest of the game. It pulls down SCVs. These SCVs weren't even going down. Look at this. He sends them right to the bunker. Just right to the bunker. These three SCVs, they weren't rallied to the minerals and then sent to the bunker the moment this roach comes into vision. These SCVs were rallied to the bunker the moment the roaches arrive. This is, I think, out of all the replays I've had so far in me trying to find hackers, this has to be the most obvious one. This guy has no shame. This prick has no shame at all.
Right now, the only real way for you to report a cheater is for you to upload a video of the match and create a ticket. And that would only happen if you were recording the match from the beginning, which you probably are not doing unless you are streaming. You might argue that having a team of people dedicated to watching the replays and catching the cheaters might be too costly, but they can do the same thing they do in Dota 2. They can outsource the process to the community, let them go through the replays, and let them decide if there was a cheater or not inside the match, and you can give them blood points or something for doing it. So as you can see, there are options to solve this problem. It's just that behavior doesn't want to do it. At this point, I'm very inclined to believe the conspiracy theory that says that behavior are actually doing this on purpose to sell more copies of the game. What I'm saying is that there has to be at least something in place to mitigate the problem of cheaters, because money is not gonna cut it. Just take Battlefield as an example. Not only does it have a really state-of-the-line, super invasive anti-cheat system, it also costs almost $70, and that is not stopping cheaters from playing the game. So having a paywall is obviously not working. There's a very interesting video that I will link in the description below, where they discuss how anti-cheat systems are very much not working anymore, thanks to hackers finding increasingly more sophisticated ways around them. So even systems like Vanguard that basically work like computer viruses, well, rootkits, are not gonna cut it. You have to complement that system with a manual system, like the one I propose, or just allow players to block other players. You know, like having a blacklist where I go into the game and if I play with a cheater, at the end of the match maybe, I can select like, oh, block this player, so I don't have to get matched with him ever again. Something like that, I mean, anything would work. Anyways, let's go back to the video.
Okay, this is not the one that I've been asked the most, but it's the one that drives me the most insane. That this game's problems would all be solved overnight, completely, if they just added a voice chat. Let's completely assume, for the sake of argument, that adding a voice chat option would be easy. It probably wouldn't be technically super easy. There's so many platforms and stuff like that. But let's just assume that the developers just press a button and the next day we have voice chat.
Okay, sorry to interrupt so soon, but I just wanted to point out that Unreal Engine already comes with a voice chat implementation out of the box. So you could implement this feature basically overnight. Not only that, but there are plugins in the marketplace that you can just download and use free of charge. There's literally no excuse as to why this feature couldn't be implemented in a short amount of time. I don't want to be a smug or nitpicky, I just wanted to point out that this is actually doable. Anyways, I don't want to dwell too much into this, I just wanted to give my input from the perspective of a game developer. With that said, let's move on to the next point.
Let's say that the survivors get to chat with each other. For American players and people in Australia, hey, maybe it could work. Most of the people that you're going to play with speak English, so it could solve a lot of the frustrations of playing solo queue, where you're like, oh my god, the killer has this bird, guys, watch out. And there generally could be so much good that comes from being able to communicate with complete strangers. Because the big issue with voice chat is that a lot of countries, like in Europe, you're not necessarily going to be paired with people from your same country. You're going to be playing with people from France, from Eastern Europe, from Scotland, which, you know, even if you speak English, it's going to be a little bit hard to understand them. That was a hopefully harmless joke. And that's not necessarily going to help you with communication.
I think it is easy to understand where he's coming from. I don't think it's a secret to anyone that not being able to communicate effectively can be really frustrating. Like, even when you speak the same language as the other person, if you have to repeat yourself like 3 or 4 times, you can start to lose your patience. You can get frustrated, and then you get annoyed, and then the whole match goes downhill from there. But anyways, let's go back to the main concern, the language barrier. I think an easy solution to this problem would be to do exactly what they do in Dota 2 and just give you the option to select the language you want to use for voice communication. This could open the door to people having wholesome experiences, making new friends, having more fun, goofing around, and not taking the game too seriously. There's also the ability of having language exchange. I have personally been able to improve my English skills and even my social skills just by being able to talk to people in video games, as well as making long-lasting friendships. I know that this opens the door to toxicity and really bad experiences as well, and I will address that point when we get there. Before we move on, I would like to address the main point, being matched with people that don't speak your same language. Let's say that behavior implements voice chat, but doesn't allow you to select the language you want to use. Let's assume that you end up matching with people that don't speak your own language. You're playing in Europe and you end up matching with 4 people from different countries and none of them speak English. Even in this scenario, I think most people know the terminology for Dead by Daylight. I think most people will understand when you say something like killer, pallet, gen, legion, trapper. You can easily just speak broken English and most people might get a general idea of what you're trying to say. There's also the fact that communication in Dead by Daylight doesn't need to be too complex.
Yeah, he's on me, on me top mid. He's committing me, it's gonna run back to shack.
Mine, I'm going to mine.
He's portal to me 7, portal to me 7.
He's on me. I'm gonna go shack.
He teleported to me.
Inside mine. Go mine. Reset, shack. He's mid-map. Come to man, laser.
Tunneling.
I'm solving.
Come safe.
It's on me, man. He left. One jack.
I blinded him. Found me. He's leaving me, guys. Leaving me.
He's off me.
He left.
TP on me.
But you
He
are doing
left.
I know the video contains some terminology that only pro players and people that play the game a lot will understand, but if you focus solely on the basic stuff that you're saying, I think you can get my point. With that said, I think we can move on to the next point.
The biggest issue, however, is moderation and harassment, and even bad faith actors. If they had the option to also come in and start saying racist slurs in the chat, that would be terrible. Obviously, you could just say, well, just mute them, just disable the whole thing, right? What is the point of having something if you have to disable it just to be safe?
Before moving on to the rest of his argument, I would like to address this last point.
What is the point of having something if you have to disable it just to be safe?
When you take into account that the game was not designed to be played using voice chat would end up being an accessibility feature. And just like any other accessibility feature, it's not mandatory for you to use it while playing the game. It's there for the people that wanna use it or need to use it. Just like the heartbeat that they added to visualize the terror radius of the killer, it is something that you can just not use. Maybe the heartbeat is too distracting for you, you can just disable it and play the game as normal. Meanwhile, there's a lot of people that will find this feature helpful. Yes, this feature, unlike other accessibility features, can be used to disrupt, abuse, and harass people, and I will address those concerns shortly. The point I'm trying to make is that even if a lot of people don't find value in the features that you're adding, making the game more accessible is always a win.
But the biggest problem, in my opinion, is moderation. How exactly would DBD moderate this? Because I could play with you in a lobby, right? And I could record it, and I could edit it in an editing program and make it look like you said something terrible to me. So how exactly would the developers know if this evidence is real? They wouldn't be able to know.
Alright, I'm sorry to be that guy and interrupt again. I just wanted to make it clear that there are ways to know if there has been any modifications to the audio. You can check the sound wave and see if there's any splicing or any weird jumps in the quality of the audio. You also have to consider that if you're recording some gameplay, the audio for the game and for the voice chat will come from the same channel, meaning that both sounds would end up being in the same track. So if you wanted to fake someone saying something awful, you would end up having to take different clips, isolating the audio, stitching it together, and then putting it back into the game, and you will end up seeing the stitching work in the sound wave, so it would be pretty obvious when someone's faking something like this using this method. Not only that, but it will take a lot of technical expertise. So I think it would be really hard to get someone banned doing this. You could argue that you could use AI, but I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and this tangent has been going for way too long. So let's put a pin on this for now, and we'll come back to it later. Anyways, back to the video.
They would need logs. They would need for every conversation to be recorded or transcribed. And here's the problem. If everything has to be transcribed, well, you need a certain technology for that, and you need to account for every single language in the world. Right now, the developers, if you type something really, really nasty, they have a log that they can copy paste. Even if they don't speak the language, they could copy paste it through some translation and maybe understand if you're harassing someone and ban you if they need to. How exactly would you do that with possibly every language in the world when you don't speak it, even if you have some software to transcribe it?
I really don't understand this point. If not being able to account for every single language for the text at the end of the game is not a problem, why would it be an issue with the voice chat? But more importantly, why do you have to account for every single language in the world? From a design standpoint, what you actually want is to focus on the languages that the community actually use. You could either run a survey or check the language of the system that they're running, and that way you can determine what the major languages are, so you can ensure that you can focus on the languages that are actually important to the community. But okay, let's say that we need to account for every single language in the world. What are we supposed to do?
Well, you need a certain technology for that.
We will need some sort of tools that can transcribe the audio. And we actually do have those tools. For example, we have Whisper AI. This tool is able to transcribe from 90 languages, so I think it is safe to say that we can account for every language in the world by using this tool. Afterwards, it's just a matter of putting the transcribe through the same process we already have in place. We can improve this system even further. You can save the transcript as well as the audio from the match for further inspection. The reason to do this is twofold. I think the first one is pretty obvious. You can use the audio and the transcription to have a higher degree of precision when detecting harassment. What is the second reason for doing this? Remember I told you to put a pin on something? You could argue that you could use AI. So let's put a pin on this for now, and we'll come back to it later. With the voice chat and the transcript, it will be even easier to detect if someone has faked the evidence against you. All the moderator will have to do is check the video, check the transcript, and if there's something said in the video that is not in the transcript, you can know for certain that the evidence that has been submitted has been tampered with. You can go even further than this. You can train an AI to detect harassment using contextual cues. I think we have addressed all of the concerns, and it is safe to move to the next point.
It is honestly the kind of thing that the developers of this particular game don't seem like they can take on.
I know this remark is coming from a place of frustration, and I get it. I'm also extremely frustrated with the way behavior has been handling the game, but I find it impossible for a company with 1,300 employees to not be able to implement a voice chat feature. But okay, I know I cut him off, so let's hear the rest of what he has to say.
Right now, the reporting system is so bad, it's so slow, there's so little transparency, in my opinion. Adding more stress to the report system just seems like a terrible idea, in my opinion. That would just enable bad faith actors and would make things worse.
It seems like there are two things to unpack here, so let's start with the first one. The report system needs to be improved before we can implement any of the suggestions. I think we have been making this point through the entirety of the video. We have talked about what needs to be improved, what needs to be changed, and what needs to be added for the system to be an effective tool that leads to better gameplay experiences. I obviously didn't cover all the possibilities, and digging deeper into this topic could be an entire video by itself, but I think I covered the best possible solutions. Regardless, if you feel like I'm missing something, let me know in the comments below. The second point was that behavior didn't seem to have the ability to do this. Allow me to remind you that we're talking about a company with 1,200 employees. We don't know exactly how many of them are programmers, but I think it is safe to assume it is at least 200. Let's compare that to a different game. According to Sunsfan, a very prominent caster for Dota 2, the size of the team working for Dota 2 during 2023 was about 50 people. With this small team, they were able to completely change the game. They changed the map, they added new objectives, they completely reworked the hero attribute system, they added a new hero, they added whatever was needed for the international, they added the compendium, they added new cosmetics, they added new special cosmetic, new in-game items and item balancing, an improvement to the reporting system, a lot of quality of life improvement, and the list goes on and on and on. What about behavior? Let's go back to our previous assumption. There are 200 programmers in the entire company. Here's where you might say, oh, the problem is that behavior needs those 200 employees at all time working on DBD. Here's where it's important to note that in the past, behavior has been able to develop games alongside DBD, and that never affected the development speed of Dead by Daylight. This means that they can spare that same amount of developers for them to work on the new features and whatever is missing for them to be implemented. I know that Dota 2 has a different development cycle when it comes to new characters. I just wanted to put into perspective the reality of implementing such features. I also wanted to highlight that behavior has the manpower and resources to implement these features. Right now, you would be wondering, why isn't that the case? What's stopping behavior from implementing the features then? The answer to that question is outside the scope of this class. And also this class has been going for way too long. You guys want to go to recess, right? So let's make a deal. If there's enough interest in the comments, or if this class can get, 1,000 likes, I'll make sure to address it in a future lecture. Anyways, seems like I might have drifted for way too long addressing this point. So let's move on to the rest of the video.
The voice chat idea, I don't even want to hear about it. It just seems like it would generally add nothing. Keep in mind, most people playing in a group already are on Discord. They don't need it. Most people playing solo I would say most people don't care. So it's very possible that even if we had this system, you would put it on and the new frustration would be, yo, I'm on voice chat, why is no one answering, guys? Why is no one answering? It would literally just shift the frustration from one thing to another. It might not change much, even if it was added. So yeah, my least favorite idea of the whole list, this one.
I think we have addressed the value and benefits that you get from having a voice chat feature inside the game, so I think we can move on to the next closing point, the use of external tools. From the perspective of game design, if your players feel the need to use external tools just to play your game, you're probably doing something wrong. A game should provide all the tools necessary for you to be able to play it. Players should feel like they all have the same chances of winning. If they notice that other players have an unfair advantage over them, either because you're using external tools or otherwise, they're just gonna feel frustrated, and that's only gonna breed more toxicity. It is also important to note that when people play with their friends, they feel the need to use voice chat features just to have a complete gameplay experience, which in turn tells us that the gameplay experience is incomplete without the voice chat feature. It is true that some players might not need it, or might not care about it, or might never use it, but like we said before, just the fact that it's there for people that need it is always a plus when it comes to accessibility and better gameplay experience. Of course, you can make the argument that having voice chat in DBD completely breaks the game when you consider how the game was designed to be played, but I think this video has been going on for too long, and there is so much to say about this subject that I think it's better if we save this for a different video. Oh wow, the class already over? And I was having so much fun. I'm sorry, I just get so excited about game design and development that I don't know when to shut up. And then I lose track of time, and then when I notice my entire day is gone. Okay, enough of me rambling. It's time for you to go to the next class. But before you go, thank you for making it to the end. I highly appreciate it. Since you're already here, how about we start a secret club? Here's the deal. You'll leave a comment saying, Michael Myers is my favorite killer, and in return, you'll get a free cookie as you exit the classroom. You'll also get the chance to laugh at the people that didn't make it all the way to the end, and to feel very special for belonging to this club. So let's do it. Let's confuse everyone. But before you go, if you like the class and would like to see more, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It will really help me a lot to keep growing and to keep making these sort of videos. With that said, good luck with the rest of your day, and I will see you back in the next class.